This is Savannah Saunders from The Wonderful World of Dance, and today I'm so excited to have ballet dancer Tala Lee-Turton joining us, who's the third ever British female to break through the Bolshoi Ballet Academy. So I'm really excited to hear from Tala about living and dancing in Russia, her upcoming performances in the UK as she tours with her ballet company, and I'm welcoming Tala. Hi, thanks so much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So you're in Russia at the moment, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I'm in Astrakhan.
Which is the name of the state ballet company.
Yeah, that's the place where the Astrakhan State Theatre of Opera and Ballet is. It's a state-funded theatre, and I feel really lucky because it's a big, beautiful theatre with lots of amazing facility, and I'm really happy working here.
So before we talk more about life in the company, which I can't wait to
Uh-huh.
hear all about, um, you're 21 now, but tell us, when did you start dancing and what made you take up ballet in the first place?
Well, I started when I was 4 years old, and really it was just because my mum thought it would be, something good for me to do when I was little. So that was why I started, and then it just got more serious as my dance teachers decided I ought to push it further. Well, for starters, I did well in some exams, and they thought I should go to some associate programs, and from there everyone had auditioned for vocational schools at 11. And then it was while I was 14 that I started training with some Russian teachers at Bristol Russian Ballet School. And my teachers, Yuri Demakov and Chika Tema, did helped me put a video together to audition for the Bolshoi Ballet Academy. I sent that, and that was where it all started for me. From there, training in the Russian style.
Wow, that's quite a journey. But what made you or your mum choose the Russian style in the first place in your
um,
local area?
yeah, well, I guess it was circumstance and through people that I knew that I started training with Yuri and Chika at Bristol Russian Ballet School, and they were just such fantastic teachers, helping me address my weaknesses, build on my strengths through this amazing style that I'd never experienced before. That it suddenly clicked, and I really fell in love with the expression that comes with the style, and the real focus on certain things that I hadn't really paid as much attention to before, such as turnout and really using my upper body and arms in a confident, expressive way. So I guess it was from that moment I just thought, well, it has to be the Russian style for me. But getting to that point was kind of lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. That's incredible that you've gone to a local Russian ballet training school and actually wound up at the Bolshoi Academy. You mentioned that you sent off a video for the audition. Was that the entire audition process? Were you accepted as a result of that? Tell us about the process.
Yeah, well, it was pretty much that. It was a very strict. There were very strict requirements for the video, but that was all I had to do. So luckily, it wasn't a case of me having to fly over to Russia just for the audition. Um, but um, it was a full class and variation that I had to send to them.
And how did you feel when you found out that you had been successful?
Um, it's the funniest thing. I was super shocked, and it didn't fully sink in until I actually got there. Um, because it was, I was at a point in my training where I thought something needs to change, otherwise maybe I'll stop. It was a bit of a fork in the road. So I thought this is an experience I've got to grasp with both hands, and whatever happens, I'm ready for anything. So I was I numb is the wrong word, but I wasn't in touch with what I was feeling necessarily.
And tell us about your first few weeks or months when in Russia, you're at the Bolshoi Ballet Academy. What was going through your mind, or what were you experiencing? How did you feel? What was it like?
Well, it was obviously a whole culture shock. It was um, it was really fantastic just to be surrounded by this completely new language, new way of life, little things that you think you take for granted in the UK, you realize actually they're very specific to the UK, that these traits and these little things that we do, our way of life. um, and it really opened my eyes. It was great that no one really speaks English to you apart from other international students, so you get thrown in at the deep end, um, and you just get to immerse yourself in it. It was really exciting, actually. I would wake up every morning really excited to start the day and to learn more, both Russian language and technique. It was a really exciting time.
And are you now fluent in Russian and the Russian technique?
Yeah. I'm definitely, yeah, I would say I am fluent in the language, and well, the technique you can always learn more, but I've um it's those building blocks of the Vaganova method just set you up for anything, for all other styles, which I'm really open to and starting to explore as well more now. But those are really the foundations, that Russian style technique that just made everything in the ballet world make sense to me, technique wise.
And what were the other students like? You say that you were able to communicate with those who spoke English in the early days
Hmm.
until you developed your Russian language. But how did you go about, getting to know the other dancers who were, they're from their hometowns?
Hmm. Well, I mean, obviously, at first I thought, oh, this is going to be hard. I was quite aware of this sort of facade, um, a cold facade at first, but after a few weeks, a month or so, you realise that actually that's all it is. It's a facade, and once you let that melt away, once you show that you put yourself forwards, you realise that Russian people in general are really, really warm-hearted people, and without trying to stereotype or anything, I actually found that a lot of Russian people are really similar to a lot of Northern British people in the mannerisms and stuff like that. So that was actually really great for me, being from the north of England.
So tell us about some of your highlights that you may have had while you're at the ballet school. Were there some particular moments or that you thought would, that you sort of would treasure forever?
Well, I guess two things really that are kind of linked were anytime we got to dance on the stage. So we did lots of performances for, graduation performances, things like that, and the little ones in the middle of the year. Those were always fantastic because, I love to perform, and that's what you're training for, right? But also I did competitions, and for that I really, really enjoyed um, the training process, the preparation towards the competitions that I would spend with my teacher, working on my solos and stuff like that, because it was really, really rewarding for me to feel the build uh, in preparing these variations, and how I would start off, uh, you know, not feeling fully confident in the variation, and by the end I would feel like we'd built layer upon layer of corrections on these little nuances and details, and I just felt so much more a stronger dancer by the end of it. So that was great. And actually, let's make it three things, because my final exams were just the greatest things ever. When we finished them, of course, we were so relieved, but doing them was really, really exciting. My favourite probably was the duet exam, which my mum got to see, as well as some friends. They came to watch, and I say the duet exam because that was most like a performance. It was our teacher. He kind of choreographed it all to be a bit of a show with lots of tricks and stuff. So it was really fun.
It does sound like fun, and how wonderful that your
Yeah.
mum was able to come over and
Oh
see you.
yeah, that was really special.
Did you have a lot of homesickness, with your mum still here in the UK and you in Russia?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and still now it's a big sacrifice not to be living at home, but well, what could I say? I enjoy dancing so much that I know that it's the right thing to do when I get that high after a performance and stuff, and I know that seeing as I'm touring soon in the UK, my friends and family, they will get to see me and I'll get to see them, so it's not such a the distance isn't so far as it perhaps once was.
Yeah. So you graduated quite recently.
hmm
Tell us about that stage in your life. Did you audition for many companies? Tell us how you ended up with the company you're with now.
Well, I decided that I wanted to work first of all with a couple of touring companies. Like, worked out a couple of touring companies in Moscow and St. Petersburg, because I wanted to get a lot of experience and dance a lot. I knew I would do that if I went on lots of tours, um, which I did. And then halfway through the year, I approached Astrakhan. Because it was a friend who had told me, why not just take this opportunity uh, on the grapevine, kind of. And yeah, and the director, Konstantin Uralsky, said he would take me on. And when I saw the theatre, I thought, wow, I'd really love to have a stable place like this with these sorts of facilities. Um, and so I did the end of the season last year, and then came back with a full contract for the whole of this year.
Congratulations. That's absolutely
Thank
fantastic. And what are you performing here in the UK whilst you're on tour?
We're doing Swan Lake, Nutcracker, and Romeo and Juliet. So, and
And
that's Uralsky's own Romeo and Juliet.
and which of the roles will you play? Do you know which ones you'll dance?
Yeah, there'll be mixed casts, but I will be dancing Cygnets and Neapolitan in Swan Lake. Nutcracker was still it's not fully decided yet, and in Romeo and Juliet, I get to dance one of the street dancer acrobat sort of girls.
Fantastic.
So.
And do you have a favorite role? Are you either performing here or ones that you
Mm,
have rehearsed for either competition or for your exams?
well, I do. I really love Cygnets and Neapolitan in Swan Lake because they're such classics, particularly Cygnets. Um, but from my competitions, I loved dancing Henriette from Raymonda. Um, I think my teacher always used to say that was the variation that suited me the best. So I would say that one, yeah.
And how are you finding company life? How's the transition been between ballet school into joining the company with the contract? How's life?
Um, it's great actually. It's really really um amazing to have this freedom to look after yourself, because when you're a student, you spend a lot of time thinking you have to please the teacher, and you don't fully realize that actually you are your own person even before you're a dancer, and you know yourself best. So now I feel pretty comfortable with the fact that I trained so relentlessly at the Bolshoi, and I mean it really was tough training. It was really, really full on. And after that, I feel like I have an understanding of my body that that enables me to really optimize my class every day, so that I can rehearse as well as I can. And I also feel like I've earned it kind of after those 4 years at the Bolshoi.
So talk us through what would have been one of your typical days at the Bolshoi. Tell us about that.
Well, I would, particularly in my final year, I would sometimes do gymnastics in the morning, so an hour before class at 9. As in, our day started at 9, and we would do a mixture. Our ballet class actually was at 11, but before that we would always have some sort of academic class, and then we would have a mixture of either, duet, character, acting, and other Russian language classes and other academic classes, right up until about 6, half 6ish, and then there would most likely be rehearsals until about 8 in the evening, after a little quick dinner break.
Wow, that is a very long day, isn't it?
Yeah, it's quite a long day, and now looking back, I mean, we still have long days now, but it's different when you're rehearsing for a show or dancing in a show in the evening. But now I look back and think of all those hours just training. I mean, it was definitely worth it. I had, it feels really, I don't know what I would have done without it. But now I think, gosh, I don't think I could do it again.
And how many days a week did you train?
6 days a week.
And tell us, what did you do on your presumably on your Sundays?
I would cook a massive brunch with a microwave. I'll add, we didn't have a proper kitchen, so I got really creative with the microwave, and I would make a massive brunch, spend ages eating that, watching a film, sleep, and then it would be Monday again.
Start all over again.
Yeah.
And what are you looking forward to most this year with the company?
Well, I'm really looking forward to the tour and possibility of other tours that we've been told about later on. So that'll be nice to do the travelling. But there also talks about some new productions, but really, I guess because I danced a lot already, I've been given a lot of opportunities to dance a lot, and I already danced a lot of roles in the 2 months I did last year. But there are still there's still more that I can do in those productions. So I want to really mind the repertoire of the shows that we've already got so far. And there are a lot of neoclassical works that Konstantin Uralsky has choreographed himself, and they're really interesting. You don't get them with just dancing them once. You have to dance them a few times to fully understand how they should be danced, and what the movements actually mean. So that's going to be really interesting, because only experience can give you that. Plus things like signets, they take a lot of work. You need to really build that experience, and work with the other girls who've danced it already for 5 or more years. So that's obviously the key thing in any real classical role that I'm looking forward to.
And on your website, when I was checking you out before we had a chat today, it says you are dancer, choreographer, model, and coach. Tell us about
Yeah.
these different sides to you.
Well, I'll start at the end. So coaching comes about because every time I come home, I try to hold masterclasses or private lessons for the young people training in Barnsley, who and well, in Yorkshire, who haven't like I was, there isn't a sort of there's nowhere to go for Russian style training up north as I know of yet. So I wanted to give back to the community kind of that from where I came from, and provide something that I know for sure isn't there now, wasn't there when I was training. So that's where the coaching comes from. The modeling is just because I've had a lot of nice photos taken from very lovely, talented photographers, and some of them have been used for things like Harlequin flowers. So
Yeah.
that's that
Great
bit.
British company.
Yeah, and then the choreography comes about because I've recently begun to explore it as a further option in my career. I'm really interested in creating things myself, and as a dancer, you're often, well, if you don't choreograph anything, you're always dancing other people's work. Whereas a lot of things interest me, and I love to see dance taken to new levels, in different directions. So I wanted to start developing that myself. I wanted to start again building my own experiences through choreography, because obviously the best choreographers don't just suddenly appear. It's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
And they create a lot of pieces. So I just I thought that I would put some of my ideas into 2 films that I did in the summer that I've now uploaded, and they're on my Instagram and Facebook accounts. That's Instagram Tala Lee-Turton and Facebook Tala Lee-Turton Ballet. And so they're my experiments kind of as of yet, but it's something I really want to pursue.
That's absolutely brilliant. And I think it's so great that such a young age, at the beginning of your career, you're already giving consideration and planning for some potential options for later on in your dance life, which is a fantastic way to be looking across the horizon. Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to ask you, through all of that and through looking towards your future, what are your ultimate dreams or ultimate goals? What type of career are you hoping to have? Do you look towards a particular another dancer whose career you'd love to emulate, or do you have your own type of career in mind?
Well, I admire a load of different dancers, and I mean, I mainly admire the ones that are the bravest, that really push boundaries, and I guess that's what I'd like to do as well. I believe that dance can easily get stuck in the past, that it doesn't necessarily always move forwards or at the rate that other arts are moving forward. Um, and I believe that only new blood can do that. So I would like to be part of, without sounding too pretentious, part of that movement of pushing ballet, classical dance, more into the current, viewpoint of our public nowadays. Yeah,
I
that
think
would be my dream.
well, I think that's an admirable and a dream which I think a lot of people would support, particularly your view about moving ballet and classical ballet forward at a rate of other arts. I think is a wonderful perspective and a great goal to be working towards. And I can imagine that you will be part of that movement, as you say.
Oh, thank you.
So my final question, which I always love to ask, and given that you are from up north, quite a small town, Barnsley, not too far from the love of my life, down the road. I'm a big fan of the Northerners, North
Oh,
England, for
good.
those who are listening around the world. Um, so what advice would you give, given where you are at your career and the fact that you've moved all the way to Russia and with the Bolshoi and with your first company, what advice would you give to other dancers who are listening or watching you talk today and thinking, wow, imagine I'd love to be able to do that. That would be incredible to pick up and move somewhere across the world and join a company. What advice would you give to a younger dancer?
I would say don't be afraid to give it a try. There's nothing stopping you but yourself. So have the confidence to believe in yourself and push yourself to places you might think are impossible, because really anything is possible if you have the will and determination behind it.
That's absolutely fantastic advice. And I
Mhm.
just want to thank you so much for talking with us today, and Sugars, for your UK tour and for the rest of
Oh,
your
thank you.
year. I'm sure you'll be happy to see your mum, friends and family as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot.
And if those of you who are in the UK and want to check out Tala, one of her performances, you can Google for their tour across the UK. And as Tala mentioned, don't forget to follow her on her social media, Facebook and Instagram. Thanks so much.